been waiting for it. So here we go, a best of 7 to determine who's going to be the champion of HomeStoryCup 19. Is it going to be this man, or we're going to have a back-to-back winner? On the left top side, we're looking at main base of a Korean Terran player. It is TY.
His opponent in the opposite corner, the world champion of StarCraft. He's known as the finisher, the Night King. We have none other than Serral.
The Phenom. The final boss.
Ooh, cheeky, cheeky. Starting up with a quick proxy Rex on the other side of the map.
What do you think about this, Todd? Opening up with some proxy barracks over here in the grand final.
Yeah, I mean, in the previous series, TY wasn't able to find really too much success with the style that he was playing. He did win the one game, but that was really because Serral was maybe playing overly aggressive. So it looks like in these grand finals, he's going to be shifting gears completely and maybe taking a much more aggressive approach as opposed to before, where he was kind of trying to split the map and playing really slow.
So once again, for all the people at home that maybe are not used to this situation, because Serral won the upper bracket and TY came from the lower bracket, Serral gets a 1-0 lead in the grand finals. Obviously, you guys didn't miss the game while we did the donation drive. This is just because TY lost the series and Serral did not. Well, he did in the group stage, but you know, back then it didn't matter because the only thing that matters was getting top 2 and finishing in the upper bracket. So that is why we're going to get a bunker as well outside of the natural of Serral. Serral seems to be quite on top of this. He's going to pull a couple of drones.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because Serral doesn't know right now if this is actually a 2-Rex, a 3-Rex, a 1-Rex, or a 4-Rex. So he's pulling a lot of drones right now and getting a spine crawler on top of that, 6 links and a queen.
And they're going to be in the wrong place.
They're going to be in the wrong place. And there's a Reaper right now, which probably will be able to get at least one drone. I would imagine.
Oh, this is sick by TY.
Oh my
here.
goodness, this is actually working out so freaking well.
Yeah.
Look at the amount of lost mining time here as well. The second drone going down. This is not the start that Serral was hoping for. Now, obviously, because TY has a slower pace strategy behind this, I wouldn't say that this is game-ending damage, but this is really sweet for TY.
He should really cancel that spine, no?
Yeah, I wonder if he's having some flashbacks from what he played earlier this tournament against Euthermal as well. He ended up skipping out Zergling speed in that game, and then it turned out to be Mass Reaper rather than Marines. If it would have been Marines in that game, it would have been perfectly fine, but he delayed the Zergling speed for really long, and the Reapers did a lot of damage. So I think he's just playing overly safe here.
Yeah.
Maybe thinking back to that one game.
That's pretty sick, by the way. 6 worker advantage while going triple CC right now, TY that is. I think you're spot on. I think that Serral has played against Mass Reaper a couple of times over the last few weeks. And he's like, you know what? I don't want to find myself in that position. He's making 12 Zerglings now, by the way, guys, with speed.
I mean, the Overlord sees there is no bunker starting. He might be trying to catch TY off guard here in a second if he thinks that
Yeah, he's all in.
Oh, he's going to
guys.
bust him.
Yeah, he's actually all in.
All right. You wanted to play aggressive in game 1 of the grand finals? I'll show you aggression.
I just asked him, and he said, guys, I'm really tired. I want to get it. I want to get some good wins in.
I think Serral might have read the situation really well in guessing that it was a 3 command center, in which case he knows there's going to be less units than usual.
Well, he hasn't seen any Hellions, right? So that's a pretty big tell that it's going to be something greedy.
And obviously, since the barracks was proxied, he doesn't have that many units out on the map in the first place. His Overlord is going to take a little bit of damage, but this also means that the Marines are going to be out of position.
It's a
This
magnet.
is a lot of links to show, though. I love that Serral decides to only show 4, but I'm actually afraid that the barracks may have caught a glimpse of those things on the right side as well.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. There's 3 SCVs in production, no bunker still.
Okay, he doesn't know yet.
Oh, don't lead it. I thought for a second that Overlord was going
Look at where the links are going. The links are really trying to avoid the Reaper and the Hellions. Here we go. This is the moment that TY should figure out what is happening. He's got 6 Banelings morphing over here on the right side of where the Zerglings are. He is immediately evacuating the low ground. Good micro with the Hellion so far, but 1 Hellion might go down. I don't like this for Serral, guys.
He needs to do critical amounts of damage, right? So even if he kills all SCVs, there's still going to be 3 mules landing at once.
That's kind of weird.
He's blocking himself. All right, Banelings get through SCVs. Are going to get blown into pieces, but there's not much left over.
Nope, the Hellion count is actually looking pretty good already, while the Zergling count is very, very underwhelming. This is not looking good at all for a Finnish Zerg.
GG.
Wow, guys. GG. That's it.
Yeah, even if you kill like 30 SCVs at that point, it's still gonna just have 3 mules, right? So 3 mules will probably mine more than the total amount of drones that Serral had at that point in the game. So he realized, I'm not dealing critical amounts of damage, I'm just gonna get out.
Yeah, I really like that he actually let the wall down. Just let a couple of Banelings, couple of Zerglings in. So afterwards he can still lift that depot if he really needs to. And I mean, he could have lost, like you mentioned, a lot of SCVs and be fine. As long as he doesn't lose the Hellions, he's going to be in a great position.
Oh, he's speaking incantations now.
I
It's okay,
truly
guys.
want to know what he says to himself after games like this.
I
We've
think it
asked him
just
like a
causes-
couple times, right? He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm not. Just
No, he doesn't say much. Like I am sure that he knows more than what he actually tells us in interviews. Like, perkele witte.
We should just mic him up.
Yeah,
not
I
tell him.
know. That would be amazing.
Imagine if he's like, this idiot thinks he can win a map against me. Just like straight up trash talking. No, obviously, I don't think that would be the case with Serral.
well, he's got the full killer phase as well when he does it, though.
No, but
Yeah.
I think, Loco, you were spot on. I think early game he misread it quite a bit. Harstam, you said it too. He's like, he knew he was going to go up against something, but he just didn't really know what it was. He pulled all the drones to prevent the bunker. Then he built the spine crawler, even let the spine crawler finish. There's a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes. Normally, Serral is perfect when it comes to figuring out what kind of a build he's going up against. This time, he just had no clue. Completely misread it. And then he's like, my position is so bad, I'm just going to go ahead and try to bailing boss. I still love the way that he moved the Lings and Banes to the other side of the map, but it just all hit a little bit too late, and it was just underwhelming.
Yeah, this definitely wasn't the way that Serral imagined it.
Maybe not so easy for Ents this time.
Hashtag not so easy for him.
I see what you did there.
Hashtag not that easy for Ents, but most likely still going to be easy for Ents. Might have to work a little bit harder.
It actually sounded so much like Velmo. It's insane.
I'm going to remember this about Welmo. He's rolling the words, or he's rolling the R's in words where there's no R's. So true.
Alrighty, guys, let's get ready for the second map of the grand finals here at HomeStoryCup 19. We truly hope that you guys had an amazing 4 days watching us from home or even attending the event. I know a lot of people visit only just one of the days here at HomeStoryCup. They watch the other days at home. So if you did make it out to the venue, we do really appreciate it. We hope you had a great time. For now,
Oh my God.
let's
And
go
more
ahead.
SCV.
and introduce these nerds. A lot of SCVs heading towards the other side of the map. On the left top side, we're looking at the main base of the reigning world champ and defending champ of HomeStoryCup. It is Serral.
And in the bottom right, it is the man that doesn't really seem to be wanting to go into a macro game after the series earlier today. It is Splice's TY.
Yeah, bringing a couple of SCVs this time around, so he's going to commit a lot more.
The mind game is sick,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like, he only proxied a single barracks in game number 1. Now he's like, you know what? You overwhelmed, or you sort of overestimated the amount of damage I was going to do in game 1. Let's just go ahead and see if you're going to under-prepare this time around.
Yeah, I'm very curious if he will pick a similar bunker position kind of to mess with his head, because usually with a 2-rex you want to build it closer to the hex, right? But I actually wouldn't mind if he built it a little bit further away to kind of show a similar scenario. Where did Serral's first Overlord go?
Yeah, he actually sent it towards the 3rd base and then like the potential
he
4th.
might-
Yeah,
So
he
is
turned
looking
at some
around.
point, looks
Yeah,
like, for the second one.
he's scouting around here.
I think he is going to see it. It's obviously going to be pretty damn late, but I think he will see it. And maybe even an SCV can give it away already. That Overlord is getting closer and closer to where it should be.
Now, I think he's actually putting it, like the bunkers, or the barracks rather, right outside the location where you would normally proxy. Yeah, that's the...
I'll spot the
Now he
SCV.
knows.
Okay, at this point he knows. So he can already get the drones in the right position.
He does
Very,
still pull
very
drones out of
important that the
gas.
first fight goes well.
Oh, drops the depot to block here. These drones can't quite get through here to the SCV. He's trying to do full damage
Yeah.
onto that bunker to get a cancel on it.
A lot of surface area on this bunker though, and the bunker does get cancelled for now. There is a spine crawler in production.
Oh, gets around on one of the Marines.
That's massive.
Lost 5 workers, though. That's a lot of workers to lose this early on. Links aren't out yet. Bunker starts once again.
Yeah,
And
that's
the
fine,
depot
though.
continues building as well.
That spine is huge. Like, that spine is actually going to be able to finish up before the
Yeah.
bunker is done, so he can get it in position.
Might
And right
actually-
now, the Marines can't do anything.
I wouldn't even mind if he sends these links to the other side of the map.
Yeah,
I feel like he needs to cancel the depot, right? What is he going to do?
I think
the
he
bunker
just
is-
did that.
Yeah, okay.
the bunker isn't in that much of a threatening position
No.
here, right? This push is pretty much dead on arrival, it feels like.
Yeah. Salvage the bunker as well, just canceled it. Now all of these Marines are going to be in a very awkward spot. Now obviously the link out isn't that high, so you don't really necessarily want to fight it. But it's still going to be rather hard for TY to get home. Even though Serral lost 5 drones, I am pretty satisfied with the defense of Serral, to be honest. Like, yeah, he lost a couple workers, but he has plenty of time to replenish those worker losses. And he's on 2 bases. TY right now only working with 1 main building.
Yeah, because he's going to start injecting now, and I think he's going to more than catch up here on these work accounts.
He still has that spine crawler as well, right?
Yeah,
that's
he
it.
did let that finish.
Yeah, but that's
Makes him
also
really
nice,
safe.
right? Gives him a little bit of safety later on against Hellions and stuff like that. So I actually think it's a pretty decent position for Serral.
Cool, a good pullback right there actually as well by TY. It's very tempting to just commit to there and just try and see if you can still shut it down. Zerking speed only just now starting up, so Serral certainly is going to be forced to sit back for a while, but that's exactly where he's comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, Hellions are going to be delayed as well, so I think all of that not that big of a deal. And like Rotti mentioned, if you have the Spine on that natural, it really gives some extra defense. If the Hellions try to poke up that ramp, the Spine Crawler will give at least one poke on the Hellions before they make their way up. So that should be completely fine. Then the Queen should be able to just defend the third base.
I feel King's Cove, boys. I think we're in for a long one. No matter the
Trap in
start.
40 minutes.
Yeah, this can start off with a 2 Rex, can start off with a 3 Rex. It doesn't really matter. This always ends split map scenario. Well, when I say split map, I mean like 75% Zerg, 25% Terran. But then we do have a bunch of Liberators with advanced ballistics and a whole bunch of Ghost. I feel like that's how the majority of the TVZs go on this map when the two players are very, very evenly matched.
By the way, production, if you could remember the lights, should be doing us a real solid here.
It's pretty warm.
Yes, it is. You tell me.
Nice with the four
Always
on the
take
one
to interview
couch.
me, man.
Todd is going to go to a tropical island and he's going to be like, it's too hot in here, like every
Well,
season.
no, because I'm going to be in my swimming trunks in the water.
They're like, sir, you are at a tropical island. Yeah, but where's the air conditioning? I can play in these conditions.
Sick.
Your French accent is like developing over time as well. It's getting better.
It's not even a
Pretty
French
terrible
accent. It's a Todd accent, okay? It's not even a French
I don't
accent.
sound like this.
I don't sound like this.
Oh, here we go, though. Hellions unload out of the medevac. We do see one evolution chamber going up real quick, trying to block some of it. 4 drones going
Oh my
out so
God.
far.
That's
That's
actually
acceptable.
successful so
What a
far.
sick position.
Yeah.
I think that's all right, though, right? 4 drones is acceptable.
Yeah, this position actually can be reached by Queens. So it's really annoying if something, there's idols there, whether it be a Prism or a medevac. You're gonna have to, be mindful of that for the rest of the game until it goes in again. It can also make its way to its natural if he really wants to. So Serral's gonna have to pay close attention to that. We see Stim actually starting, so brought the 2 barracks back home safely, and actually we'll be going into bio play.
The spine is going to be so useful against Hellbats, by the way, because the
Yeah.
armor is finishing up. And that's what I said as well. The early game spine, it may not seem useful almost immediately, but it can be very useful a little bit later. It's very important TY keeps this alive a little bit longer. There you go. But Hellbats don't do well against spine crawlers, guys. And this could actually be quite problematic if you don't have that spine there. But, okay, Liberator is going to potentially get some damage done in the natural as well. Let's see how awake Serral still is.
Yeah, Banelings are ready, Queens are ready. He should be able to stop all of this relatively easily as long as the control is on point. A little slow right here.
He's going to end up losing quite a few drones there. These Hellions are going to get picked up, though. The Hellbats are getting some decent damage done. The Spore Crawler is getting a couple of shots off on the Liberator, but really good control so far by TY. And these drones are starting to be in a pretty dire position. During all of this, by the way, Serral is already making 13 additional workers because he knows that this is about it when it comes to the push. But pretty good damage by TY, though, guys.
Yeah, it is quite fantastic damage. Liberator still alive as well. This guy did a lot of damage. 10 kills on the Liberator, and all of those are drones as well.
And he's avoiding the Spore Crawler like 3 or 4 times already. TY actually is showing off some really, really good multitasking and a lot of lost mining time. Man, he's so annoying. This is always the difference between good and really good Terrans, right? The good ones do it twice, and the super good ones do it 4 or 5 times. And you better bring some additional units, otherwise you're just never going to get that freaking thing. 19 drones went down there,
There's no
guys.
third CC on the map, right? So this is going to be a 2-base all-in after this. And I'm afraid that Serral is going to press the drone key real hard after all those losses. He'll be like, well, I need to make up for it somehow. So I wouldn't be surprised if he really over-drones here.
Yeah, we'll see when he cuts. He's still making more here. He starts to Roach Horn, so this kind of tells me he's not going to want to make links
Baneling
maybe
speed.
before that.
No Baneling speed yet, though. And I think the Baneling... Okay, there we go. Baneling speed, I think, is going to be very, very important. He does indeed have that Overlord at the third base. But here is that push already, guys. It's 41 army supply against 18. Serral really doesn't have much.
No, he doesn't know that this push is happening. He's even looking for a 4th base right now. Normally there's like a Zergling out there spotting something, but he didn't actually realize that this army was moving on the right-hand side of the map. This is going to completely blindside him. He needs more Banelings.
Wow.
He's just going to tap out. Wow, TY. He's on a mission here in the Grand Finals. Takes the 2nd map win in a row, and very convincingly as well.
Yep, Serral all the way up to 65 drones, and he just taps out immediately as soon as an army shows up. So even though we started this grand finals with a 1-0 lead for the Night King, now suddenly he is down 1-2, and it feels like we've only seen 10 or 11 minutes of StarCraft 2. Not something we very often see. Still, a couple of more StarCraft games to go. But guys, the reigning...
What is he saying? What is he saying?
Do you think it's like Finnish or English, though?
I think it's Finnish.
Finish, definitely finish.
Okay, we need some lip readers in the chat. Finnish lip readers. We're looking for a specific... There's probably at least one.
He's really switching it up, though, isn't he, TY?
I think the mind games are working, and I think honestly the execution there was very sick. The multitasking with that Liberator, the way that he kept that thing alive. He started in the natural, sieged up, sieged up again in the natural, then went to the main and still moved it around 3 or 4 times. TY clearly very, very on point. And you said as well, the reaction of Serral just seemed a little bit slow a couple of times. It is getting a little bit later. We obviously passed midnight already. But hey, Serral won HomeStoryCup 18, and I believe that that one finished up quite late as well. So I don't think he's a stranger to these conditions. But Serral doesn't look that sharp right now.
Well, I mean, on the other hand, TY does look very, very sharp. Like the way he controls basically everything. He had the Hellbats going on, the Hellion drop in the main, and the Liberator at the natural, and later moving to the main. I mean, he's playing absolutely out of his mind.
Normally, I think like one of the things that makes Serral so scary is that he's really good at defending everything, right? So we had that one Liberator in the natural, then we had that Hellion drop threatening in the main base, and then also the Hellbat push over at the third. So TY didn't just even hit him at 2 angles, like you always talk about, Roy, but he hit him at 3 angles.
Yeah.
Now, he defended 2 of them perfectly. However, the Liberator just got like 12 or so kills there for pretty much free. And normally, I feel like Serral is one of those players who can actually defend that and make it look easy. Normally, he's the kind of guy that makes that look like it's just not even an issue.
The queens weren't there. If he would have had a queen in the main base to deal with the Liberator, I think his life would have been a lot easier. But exactly like Todd said as well, after that he was kind of annoyed. He made an insane amount of drones, and he got completely blindsided by that 2-base push. Anyway, let's see what happens in Game 4. I mean, it's still a best of 7, so we have plenty of StarCraft to go. On the left top side, we're looking at the main base of the reigning world champion of StarCraft 2. It is Serral.
His opponent in the opposite corner. From South Korea, looking to take the crown, we have TY.
Great job, Loco.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to do it, but you looked at me like, no.
I knew you got it.
I want to hear those
nothing you
hyped
can
up
do.
Todd intros, dude.
Oh, man. We needed a hyped up Loco intro.
Actually, really
You can do it all, Loco.
that Serral isn't going for some
thank
pool first or whatever, you know? You could say after 2 games of proxy barracks, like, all right, I'll play pool first. But Serral's like, nah, I think I can actually defend this with my 16 edge. I've been playing this for the past 5 years. I should be fine now as well.
Maynard in the chat. These intros are 4 out of 10. I'm sorry, Maynard. We're not all as good at introductions as you are.
We're not all surgeons.
Hey, Mapo, can you show that overlord in the middle of the map? Surgery!
Did somebody clip that?
I don't know if anybody clipped that. The TLDR of all of these guys in the middle of a WCS broadcast may not just shouted surgery for absolutely no reason.
No. It was. I think it was pretty. It was a good fit to what was happening. I think I said something in reference to like somebody sniping something like very precisely or something, and Maynard's reaction was surgery.
No, Maynard doesn't say anything in the chat, does he?
We need to clip that. I wish I remember what
It was at the end of a best of 5,
Yeah.
and there was the final moment on the game on Neil Repugnancy. That's all I remember. 3-0 series.
Well, I'll find it later.
WCS Spring Circuit, you with Maney. Anyway, Todd, how's your HomeStoryCup been so far? Did you have fun?
Yeah. I always have fun here. It's always nice hanging out with everybody. Bling showed up. I didn't expect this. I think it's really cool that Bling came back. Had been a while. Now I feel like Loco's become a regular, you know.
I'm having a blast, man.
It's kind of nice that he finally got down off his high horse of doing all this official stuff.
Oh,
co-op
come
and everything. And
mean,
yeah,
if
I
you were
came to hang out with the lowly peasants at HomeStoryCup.
If you were the biggest StarCraft 2 YouTuber, you also wouldn't show up to this.
Thank you, Harston. Harston has been bringing this up every opportunity possible. It's like, hey guys, did you know Loco has YouTube videos?
Making sure everyone's aware, Loco. Just making sure everyone's aware. All right, what do we have? TY once again with a triple CC, actually. And he has a tech lab on a factory. So this looks a little bit like either just a tank defense, or maybe he's going to try some some tank push from a weird angle, but on this map I don't really see that happening, right?
Is he not going to switch it over, you think, with the starport?
And go straight for Banshee.
It's a little bit
It's a good
strangely
scout, at
timed.
least. Spotting the CC here is very nice for Serral. That's going to give him a much better idea of what he's up against and should allow him to make a couple of the correct decisions.
Usually you see this kind of build with Hellions if it would be Banshee, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here comes some Hellions and...
So he went
Yeah.
he went barracks, factory, command center, starport, right? So not starport and then command center, which is probably the reason why it's timed a little bit differently. He does go for the armory right now. So it could be mech play, could also just be... Nah, I don't think he's going to go for a Hellbat push here. It doesn't make sense, right? Like, it's going to be hit a little bit too late with too few units.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, guys, by the way, I feel like we're not freaking out enough. TY just crushed Serral 2 games in a row. Is Serral maybe not playing as well as we would expect him here in the grand finals?
I mean,
Because
he's
of
absolutely not
unknown
playing as
reasons,
well
or-
as we
Yeah.
expect because we know what to expect from him.
Yeah, I mean, they were weird games, that's the
Yeah.
thing, right? It's not like he got taken in like a straight-up macro game where he looked hopeless.
It is worrisome for sure, but I feel like Serral has been behind in the series in the past. Like obviously this year he's dropped a couple of series here and there, so you know we are somewhat more used to Serral losing. Even though I would still never predict against Serral, and I still never will. At least as long for as long as he plays like this. But even in the past, I feel like if you go back to last year, even at the HomeStoryCups back then, he was behind in series multiple times.
Yeah,
And he
almost
has
lost
to-
to Teja, no?
Yep, he lost to Bunny as well. I mean, there were a couple of times where he lost. He was close to losing in ZvZs as well back then against Scarlet in Valencia and stuff like that. And he has turned around a lot of series, so I don't freak out yet. If TY wins this map as well and he goes up 3-1, yeah, damn, then we're witnessing something special.
Yeah, but this game looks a lot more
Serral-like.
comfortable for Serral because he's getting his upgrades going. He has good map vision. He knows what's going on,
Push
basically.
is good, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I don't really like is that he's going melee upgrades rather than, you know, countering what seems to be Terran mech here. At this point, obviously, it's very hard to scout such a thing, but he does need to figure out whether or not it's mech
Yep.
or bio here soon.
Let's see how he's going to deal with this Liberator, because the Liberator obviously did way too much damage on King's Cove. This seems like a better response so far. Let's keep a close eye on these Hellions as well. These Banes are morphing in a very awkward spot. TY looking for an opening, maybe able to get something done here. I don't know what the Queens were doing over there.
Harstein, do you play against Serral often on ladder?
Yeah?
How many points do you get if you win?
I don't know.
Best answer.
If you had to guess.
I don't know, maybe 50, maybe 40.
How many points does he get?
Like 3 or 4.
To ask the Marine Lord question doesn't make you feel like a baboon.
Yeah. Makes you feel real bad, I can tell you that. It's real dirty when it does happen.
I love that clip that you had where you played, I think, a game on year 0, and you were like, I think this is, 6-3, 6-4, and then bam, it was Serral. And you're like, yeah, actually, guys, I was thinking that could be possible as well. It's like, nice save, bro.
Do we have Thor drops coming up right now as a follow-up? I guess so, yeah.
This is a very, very old style.
Yeah.
that everyone used to do it. I want to say 2017 or maybe early 2018, where every time you played mech, you start with a double Thor drop. Try and get some damage in. Kind of fell out of fashion, probably because it died a lot to Nidus Blaze. You really want some tanks against
Back
early-
then, everybody went very quick Hydras as well, and if the Hydras are out, then obviously the Tor drop is super risky. But these Hydras ain't out yet. Roaches, I mean, it's going to be a bit tricky. It really comes down to the positioning. This actually is going to be kind of a difficult defense here, especially when these Hellions potentially morph into Hellbats as well. This fort base needs to stay alive. Queens are good though, with a lot of damage on the Medivacs. Very important. Careful, TY. He's carrying. Oh, if Medivacs go down.
That one, ooh,
Yeah,
that
he
one
can-
Thor should not be able to get out.
I mean, that's -1 Tor. That's minus maybe 1 Medivac as well. Queen from downtown. No. Queen missed.
a lot of Hellions alive though, and it did halt Serral's drone production for a little bit. 13 drones in production right now, as well as the infestation pit. So Serral going really into that late game that he so desperately desires. Finally, no early game shenanigans anymore. Of course, this is a map where it's a lot harder. Thunderbird is so difficult to push your opponent on, as there's only real path where you can engage if your opponent is on 3 base. That's up onto the ramp. So I like.
I like how quick Serral goes into Infestors. Like, I think you guys did with me as well, right? In the Serious Hero Marine against Raynor.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so stubborn. He just delayed the Infestors forever and ever.
Nidus starting to.
Wow, that's a very fast Nidus as well. Getting Swarm Host. I mean,
Yeah, so-
Serral's just getting a little bit of everything at this point.
This scan is actually really critical. So there's two ways you can respond to this kind of stuff, right? Either you go for like Hydra Viper, or you go for Infestors to try and deal with that battle mech. Seeing that there's an infestation pit but no hive is a big tell that it's going to be at the very least something a little bit cheeky. So TY has to be careful. I don't think he... Oh, he's actually going to go Swarm Host. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was the whole point of getting Infestation Pit, but he just wanted to grab some Infestors first.
Okay, yeah, he's been going for a lot of like fungal growth on the battle mech and then trying to catch up.
He's gonna max out super fast, by the way. Like,
If you think-
roaches and Swarmos take a lot of supply.
If you think back of the WCS finals he had against Special, he was incredibly good at letting those fungals and corrosive biles as well, right? And a couple
Yeah.
of times, that connects with 3 or 4 cyclones, that becomes really painful for the Terran.
I tried it as well. Or Army hotkey. Doesn't work as well. I always spam Infested Terrans. Instead is the same hotkey for me. All right, it's going to be a great Aspire here as a follow-up as well as soon as he can. The Swarmos, though, are going to be huge when it comes to buying time.
Wow, that's nice. There's no vision here at all for TY. That's going to be very, very annoying to deal with. Does he have any units? He's bringing over 2 of his stores, right? Or is it Hellbats?
Helmet.
Okay.
I like that he has 5 Banes here as well in case the Hellions show up.
Yeah.
Oh,
If that is the reason why they're there, he's brilliant. That's for sure.
This is actually really clever. I think he's going to drop them, try and bait them to the ground. Look at... Oh, Serral too good now. Move commanding them.
You got to pull those SUVs, I think. Otherwise, you're going to lose quite a few of them, and obviously that's not necessary yet. TY does always have a lot of workers. Maybe a couple of cyclones here. One cyclone does go down. I think that's about it. Good medevac micro, obviously, there by TY. But, you know, that wasn't the biggest wave. It wasn't like a, you know, super important move down for Serral. Just tried to get some damage done and did a tiny bit. But good, of course. Good response by TY.
I really like that Serral immediately starts a Nidus the moment his other Nidus finishes, instead of waiting for the one Nidus network to actually die or Nidus worm to die. I think that's a really cool move, because this way it's going to be very hard for TY to play some kind of whack-a-mole here, because just new ones keep on popping up. I mean, this one dies, which is annoying, but he already has another one in the 6 o'clock location once again.
And that bank is already starting to grow a little bit, right, for Serral, and that's obviously going to be very important. This is a pretty intimidating Terran army, though, guys. 11 SUVs went down, a couple of crosser balls will whiff. They don't connect with anything. The Infested took quite a bit of damage. So the Locusts are starting to deal real damage. But Serral, how much do you really have at home?
Is this the whole army?
No, that can't be the army.
I think so,
That
because he
was
has
the Swarm
17 Swarm Hosts. 17
Yeah.
Swarm Hosts is 51 army supply. That's huge.
Oh my goodness, if he messes up a Locust wave then,
Nice math on screen,
he's
by the way.
very careful with the banelings that he has.
Yeah, I like what TY is doing. He's saying, you want to siege me on my side of the map? I'll attack you on your side, and you won't have Locust ready on time. Serral maybe losing patience here a little bit. He's going to get right in there, lands a big fungal, some corrosive bias as well. But there is only so many Locusts.
At least he's making 8 more roaches immediately. Hellbat's going to be dropped on top of these Ravagers. TY really going for it here. Where are those reinforcements? The Infested with a lot of energy goes down as well. Waiting for the next wave of Locusts. Serral is. There we go. A lot of Locusts coming in from the top side. Not that many Hellions and Hellbats remain anymore. I think Serral should be more than fine here, guys.
Yeah, I love
Please,
the fact that he
Serral,
didn't
survive.
activate all of them. He didn't activate all of the Locusts there initially. And he is going to be able to hold on.
That's why you don't freak out when Serral's down 2 maps, though. It's like map 4 is like, how bad is this? He's like, he's maxed out and he's got 3,000 minerals. And it's like, I guess he's okay.
He's got great Aspire, don't worry about it.
Oh my god,
I
I,
mean,
love
I
that
am-
he keeps
Yeah.
doing this.
I am a bit. He did it against Stats though, and it costed him the game against Stats on Thunderbird as well, because he really didn't have to lose that second game against Stats. So
No siege tanks here, though. I mean, the ones that aren't siege, I guess.
I obviously think he's more than fine. I mean, he's up 70, 80 supply. He's doing a lot of economic damage. Can we take a look at the income graph, Mapu? Shout out, of course, by the way, to. That's not the graph, Mapu.
Oh my god, you were just about to give him a shout out.
I know. No shout outs to Mapu.
Oh.
Massive.
Shout out to Indy.
Jesus. Massive shout out, of course, to Mapu. He's been doing all the observing himself. I went into that room multiple times. I'm like, mate, just let me observe a series or 2 and then you can go take a break, get some food. He's like, no, it's fine, Kev. I was like, well, don't you trust me? He's like, no, I trust you. He's like, it's fine. I want to do it. It's like, you literally want to observe every single game of HomeStoryCup. He's like, it's fine, Kev. It's fine. I'm like, okay. Then I tried it again the next day. This man just loves observing, man. He flew from Tokyo to Krefeld to observe 4 days straight.
Here we go, though. The Roaches, Ravagers, and Banelings ready to engage here at the front, while the Swarm Hosts are keeping the Terran player pinned back. He does have the option right now to switch towards Brute Lords as well. The Great Aspire is done, but instead he decides to stick around on this unit composition for a little while longer.
I mean, Serral's bank is just so freaking
God.
impressive already. Can we take a look at the units lost? It's actually quite
Yeah.
even. Serral's economy just must have been so much strong. And obviously, there's been a lot of lost mining time on the side of TY, where you had to pull the SCVs over and over again. And this game, if you compare it to the previous ones, this time TY was just not able to damage the economy of Serral in the same way as he was able to do before, right?
This force may actually fall though, because that is a lot of locusts. Even with the full repair and these millions, that is so close. A couple of them sent to the
That's
natural.
very smart.
Yeah. And he actually gets like 17 SCVs.
Yeah.
In like
I hear you like
3
making
seconds as
SCVs.
well.
Remake some of them.
Some looks and just shakes his head. He's like, it's unbelievable.
Look at this sublime.
Look at
I mean, he's been at 200
the
the whole
bank.
game, it feels like.
Look at the esports earnings stuff, but then the mineral earnings of this game, like that seems very unfair as well. I wish you had a good catchphrase to look at the banks. You have to sit on it. You have to sit on it a little bit, Todd. I think you can come up with something. Look at it.
Where is Serral at, actually, now that you mentioned that? In the StarCraft earnings.
It's probably over 600k by now, no?
Yeah, but is he like third?
Yeah, I think he's third. Gets the planetary fortress there, guys, with a couple of the Banelings and then the last few shots of those Ravagers. I mean, TY is trying to hang in there for dear life, but it really just seems that Serral is a little bit too rich in this game, and is just absolutely taking control of it. He's going to send a few more Locusts into the natural. This time TY does respond as quickly as possible. Still ends up losing 7 SCVs, but...
Yeah. So the issue here is that TY is going to start running out of money very soon. He's not able to really secure a fifth. Is what he's trying to do right now at the bottom, I guess the bottom section of the map. There's a big army though. Like this is a close to maxed out Terran force, and that's really what Swarmos aren't very good against. It's a lot of Banelings though. Don't go off creep. I don't think you want to go off creep.
I think he just wants to recycle. Spend a little of that bank. As long as he gets a couple of the tanks here, he should be more than fine. Obviously, it is starting a little bit scary if these Liberators get closer and closer. A lot of Ravages do go down now. I mean, Serral has an absolute ridiculous amount of money. He is going to spend it as quickly as possible. We don't know where these Locusts are, but eventually, Loco, those Locusts will show up, and those Locusts will take care of it.
Yeah, these Zerglings, I guess, was running in.
Yeah, Serral made a ton of links just to make sure he could clean this up.
With everything.
For the counter-attack. And Serral brings it back. We're all tied up here. And this best of 7.
I love how he gave him
though.
a little look. I really love this about HomeStoryCup because the players are kind of facing each other, and the moment he glances on the left side of that monitor, he's looking at TY. And he gave him a little glimpse. He's like, how do you like that, huh?
You want to say something? He was like, nope, I haven't said anything ever.
Not making eye contact.
This is what happens
Then
when
he's
you
not
build your barracks at home.
It was really comfortable to win a game with 4K, 3K in the bank. The other guy struggling to get any units out, and he sat very comfortably in that game. First, very good early game.
Yeah.
Like it was super comfortable. We said it very early already. I mean, this is the kind of game that Serral enjoys playing. He's probably the best at it in the world, where just nothing really happens out of the ordinary, and he just gets to play his own game, and he's fantastic at it.
I think the one dicey moment was when TY first moved across the map, and he had to like defend with those 17 Swarmos and like the 4 Roaches, it felt like. He didn't have a lot.
I felt his army was so tiny.
Yeah, his army was super small. I think a lot of Terran players at that point just sit back a lot because they're trying to defend against the Swarm host. And like you were saying, Harstam, like they're trying to play whack-a-mole with all of the Swarm hosts, or all of the Nidus worms. Yeah, I feel like that was the one dicey moment in that game, but Serral held that one very closely. And from there on out, he was just super far ahead.
Loco, if you had to do a commentary for your YouTube on last game, what would be the title?
Playing whack-a-mole, I guess. Nidus whack-a-mole. Dude,
Oh my God.
StarCraft 2, Nidus whack-a-mole in all caps. There you go.
All caps. Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark.
And
There
your
you go.
thumbnail would be Serral holding
Don't
like a
forget to
massive
100,000 clicks, baby. Here we go.
There we go.
And then the actual whack-a-mole is Loco's face with his hands on his face. Like, oh.
Very bright colors.
Of course.
Big text on the thumbnail.
Fantastic.
Alrighty, on the left top side, we look in the main base of our South Korean Terran player. We're all tied up. It is Splice, their very own CY.
I'm ready for that thought introduction now.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
On the right bottom side, a lot of esports earnings. We call him the Night King. It is Serral.
2 out of 10.
Was that Serral introducing himself?
Yeah,
It was a mix between Serral and Todd.
Went a little bit off
over
track.
here on the right bottom side. I don't know what you want me to say, you piece of shit. It's Serral. It's been Serral all 3 games, okay?
Oh my God.
Another barracks at home.
Yeah.
Looking good for Serral.
He hasn't learned.
I see.
It's time to bring back that meme tweet.
This strategy has a
The
very
win
low
rate.
win record. I must say, building the barracks at home has a very low win record in tournaments. I almost never see this strategy win.
Yeah, as I say, okay, actually gets an SCV scout as well, so we'll be trying to block that third for a little bit with the SCV. Reaper on the other side, most likely. And Serral actually opened up with pool first this time, so I'm glad for TY that he is scouting with an SCV. It's always nice to know that there's going to be some links on your side of the map, of course.
Yeah, pool first, relatively small commitment, but it can help out a lot, especially if like the Reaper goes straight across and you skip the SCV scout. You can sometimes even get away with killing the SCV that's building a command center, and that puts Terran in a world of trouble. Not going to happen this time around, so nice safe opener.
Yeah, it's also, of course, to fight against that proxy Rex in case it happens. Nice to have the pool first, so some extra safety here for Serral.
I like that he split up the Zerglings first when the SCV was still paying attention, and then he like brought them back together. It's kind of forcing that Reaper to not be able to move.
I feel like this could be the start of a rivalry, by the way. These two had never played before this tournament.
And I think it was a very storied matchup already, because a lot of people really felt that stylistically this is a very troublesome matchup for Serral. They just really thought that TY would sort of be the blueprint on maybe beating Serral in this matchup. It was really funny. Earlier this morning, I was standing next to Stats as he was watching one of the games. I was like, Stats, who do you think is going to win? And I think this was the first time that TY and Serral were going up against each other. He's like, I don't know. He's like, but if anyone beats Serral, it's TY. I was like, oh, really? And Hajin is like, what about Zest? And he looks at me, he's like, maybe not. So even a lot of the Koreans seem to think that TY is, you know, a big troublesome opponent.
Poor Zest.
Serral.
I feel like Zest gets flack a little bit.
So sick.
Zest has got doubters.
You know how Stats said it as well, with like these little cheeks,
Yeah.
these red cheeks of him, and he just like eyebrows raised. He's like, maybe not. He was having a good time. And I think so far, I mean, these two have definitely been pretty damn evenly matched, right? Like Serral looked almost invincible ultra late game in the previous series. But, you know, he definitely had to work for it. It wasn't an easy victory. It was pretty back and forth. And so for the grand finals, we're all tied up. Yeah, I think especially in King's Cove. I think if you're a Serral fan, that was a little bit worrisome, because it did feel like he got out multitasked a tiny bit. You know, we all have those games where sometimes it just feels like you're a little bit too late with everything. And it's often a snowball effect, right? If you're like too late for one thing, like players like TY, they're so freaking good. They are going to punish you, and they'll make sure that you keep being late.
Yeah, it's been an interesting road for Serral. Like, he did lose to Stats in his first match of the tournament in the group stage, but then after that, once he made it to the brackets, he's been on an absolute tear. 3-0 against Sue. And then we were talking about his matchup against Elaser. We're like, oh, it's ZvT, anything could happen. Nope, not anything could happen. Another 3-0.
I feel like that
3-1
hasn't...
against TY.
Yeah. But the ZvT, anything could happen, that hasn't applied to Serral in such a long time.
yeah.
So freaking good.
He's just looking better in ZvT than anyone.
Serral actually got a pretty important scout. He saw that there was a tech lab on the factory and that it already started a tank, or at least something was producing from there. So he should be aware that it's most likely going to be a Banshee tank push. I wouldn't be surprised if it hits somewhere above the third or somewhere near the rocks, try to set something up, maybe even with a bunker, try to hit something at least. He does have 4 Hellions, so he can be a little bit annoying with it as well.
I like the spacing of the Zerglings. Did you see how fast he did it? It's immediately put him on a horizontal line.
His creep spread isn't actually that great at his third base. Like, his creep spread towards the middle of the map is great, but there's not a single tumor there yet, and it's a little bit worrisome. I like that he's attacking the rocks here, allows for some more flankability, but the creep really is lacking here. And here come the 2 tanks already. Is there any SCVs with this push?
I didn't see them, but I don't know if the overseer saw it either. I think it just barely missed it. Bailing speed is not done yet. There is a changeling though, so maybe that little changeling spotted everything, but there were still quite a few drones on the way. Man, if the tanks are going to siege up, this is going to be really quite gnarly. The only European Terran I often see do a push like this is Clem. I know that Clem likes a couple of these very early pushes. Banshee in the main base as well, and Serral suddenly seems like he's in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, these queens are needed over at the third to defend against this push. The one Liberator here in the mix as well. I really like it. Apparently, rather than going for the surround, he's trying to engage this head on. Don't know if I like that, but it seems to be working out.
I think it's all right. It was obviously very important that he takes care of that as quickly as possible. The Banshee ends up with 5 kills so far. But I think that could have been a lot worse. So I think overall this was quite decent for Serral, especially if he's able to pick up these units that were trying to retreat home.
Yeah.
The Hellions go down, the Marines go down, and there's still a siege tank. I think the tank will live. I think all things considered, Serral handled that very, very well.
Yeah. Oh, even gets the Banshee on its way out as well. That's huge. So
like
only just now, by the way, do we see Stimpack start. That's super late.
Yeah,
you have to get
base is
something
done
done
already, though. So it was a pretty pretty dedicated push, but it seems like he's still in an okay position to get in somewhat of a macro. However, Serral knows for now that there won't be any attack happening for the next minute and a half at least.
Yeah.
He will be getting up his upgrade, and he will be getting to the desired drone count, whether that is 70 drones or 76 drones. It doesn't really matter. He will be able to get there. We don't see a fort base yet, though, and that surprises me a little bit.
I think we're going to see it like anytime soon now, but we saw the Hydra then go down before the fort base. So good old Hydra Ling Bane.
Yeah, a lot of the Zerg players at this event have been favoring just pure Zergling Baneling straight up in towards Hive. I believe Serral actually was playing that for a little bit as well. I don't mind the Hydralisk transition in this particular game, just because it's like a, you're late on your upgrades anyway, so you can't really go up to 3-3 immediately. So if you're gonna sit on mid game for a little while anyway, you may as well go ahead and put down the Hydra and be a little bit safer all around. Caster chicken.
I was like, I'm going to look at Todd to see if he wants to say something, and Todd just looks at me like, but with easy Contaminate being used on the tech lab there. That's going to delay Steam even a little bit further.
I'm just surprised you're allowing your co-casters to speak for one skill.
Yeah, mate, that's a real issue with me. You know, Todd, you could make that joke if you weren't
just
2 days
sure you
late
do
and
the same
spent
thing
half
in
of
the
it in
interview
the...
for once, so maybe I can squeeze in 1 or 2 questions.
Mate, if you want to do the interview, I'll gladly give up my headset. I actually don't want to do the interviews. I just do it because to get something going.
Yeah, sure.
Well, guys, we can fight it out later. After HomeStoryCup.
All right. Serral actually managed to get up to 77 drones. For a while, he was actually floating at 65, 63 workers, which is relatively low, but he managed to get a nice drone count going right now. Fort base is done as well. 6 more drones even on the way, as well as a hive. So this feels like a rather standard and comfortable game for Serral. There is probably going to be some kind of push towards the fort, but the creep threat is so thick
that
now.
is so scary.
Oh my god.
Already at the center.
That's
Remember
one of
we
those
used
big
to talk,
downsides.
we always used to talk about Scarlet and her crease rate. I feel like nowadays Serral is like, he's the guy.
Yeah, it's so sick because we used to have like Stefano with the inject, Scarlet with the crease spread, and then we just have one guy for everything. It's like,
With everything.
The
engagements, the macro, the micro.
so guys, who's the engagement specialist? Yeah, Serral.
But that's the thing though, like after that siege tank push failed, not only did we see him go straight up to the amount of drones that he wanted and then a 4th base,
I mean,
he's also got that insane creep spread going because of it. And TY only just now manages to go out onto the map once again.
the army is still quite big though for TY, and obviously he's gonna end up losing a couple of Marines. Like obviously Serral's position looks pretty damn good on paper, especially if you just focus on the mini-map and you focus on all the amazing upgrades he's got on the way and the stronger economy. These Banes do get some good connections. I think Serral still has to be a tiny bit careful because if he does take a very bad fight, then TY could potentially punish him very hard.
The problem with that, I don't really see TY ever getting a fight in the next minute and a half, right? I mean, how is he ever going to get into a position where Serral will feel forced to fight on TY's conditions? I mean, he'll need to clear 4 or 5 rows of tumors, basically. That's 3-4 scans, and for now, Serral won't even allow him on the edge of the creep. So I feel like Serral's in a great position. 3 Vipers already out, 2 about to finish, and Adrenal on the way. I mean,
I kind of feel like TY is making this look like he's just about to land a 4th base over at the position in the center. There's a Zergling scouting the base on the left-hand side. It's a little bit curious because there's still no 4th, and at this point in the game, like the main and the natural are gonna run it really, really low. He needs another base soon.
If he waits for a 2-2 timing, by the way, he's actually going to go up against Ultras.
Yeah.
Serral already having his 2-2 upgrades. And Adrenal finishing up. The Ultralisk Caverna is almost finishing up. Here we go. TY is going to move these tanks forward. And this is about it for Korean Terrorplay. His army is ginormous, guys. 126 army supply.
2-2 is not that close to finishing, but I feel like he just wants to hit before there is like a ton of ultras. He can't wait too much longer here.
I mean, there's Adreno and there's 3 Vipers. These guys have Blinding Clouds. This is the perfect setup for Serral. This position is really gnarly, however.
Yeah, he now knows that there's no base in the center either, so for all intents and purposes,
Oh,
right now,
Viper
this
goes
is all
down.
in.
Sorry, one Viper did get sniped, so that's -1 Viper. Second one goes down as well. All of these tanks are still going to fire. Now, it's still pretty good engagement, obviously. The Blinding Cloud does connect with the 2 tanks in the back. 2 tanks remain on the high ground, but there are so many Zerglings and Hydras.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's still a little bit of a bank as well. It seems like Serral has stopped this push of TY for now.
It's so sick that in the end you see like the 10, 12 Zerglings coming from the left side as well, taking away some of that tank fire. Like the way Serral sets up engagements is absolutely insane. And just now 2-2 finishes for TY. Of course, TY felt like he couldn't wait for that. And I kind of agree with him, honestly. It felt super scary for him. He didn't know how far away Ultras were. He knew there was Vipers already. I mean, how much longer could he really wait for that engagement?
Where smoke is his fire, right?
Yeah.
It could have been worse. Like if there had been a bunch of Vipers with like full energy, everything gets Blinding Cloud on top of in terms of those tanks. They don't even shoot, so...
Yeah, he lost 1 Viper before the engagement as well, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it could have
2
even
kind
been,
of. Like the second one, like one
panic.
Blinding Cloud,
The panic Blinding Cloud is like, I want to use at least some of the energy. But
So the base in the center was put right on location. It's not going to be a planetary yet. Once again, big Blinding Cloud right there, forcing a lot of those Marines and Marauders to push back. Is there enough right here for him, or is there enough right here for him to finish it?
I know there's still a lot of Banelings in the mix. Well, good splits on the high ground. Liberator is going to help out a little bit, but Serral just has a little bit too much. And the Finnish Phenom will take a 3-2 lead in the grand finals.
Don't
And he's,
ever make your barracks back at home.
and he's now just 1 map away from being a back-to-back HomeStoryCup champion, just like Tasia, just like Zest.
Yeah, he's playing some very impressive StarCraft. It's a very impressive, but let's not forget that TY won more maps. Or well, same amount of maps.
No, same
Yes,
amount. It's they're 2 and 2 technically.
Nice
right?
math.
Serral's 3-2 up, but let's not forget that TY won more maps. Well, I mean, if you count the extra map he won in the previous best of 5 as well, then you've got a point.
If you take in consideration he plays a really difficult race.
Technically, he did win more maps. So we all know if you win a map with Terran, it counts double, okay? But then again, like, is there a deduction in the skill difficulty if you build your barracks on the other side of the map? Does it count as a full double victory, or is it just a regular victory?
I think just a regular victory.
Yeah, it just counts. It's kind of like Protoss at that point.
Yeah, but we just always get half the victory. But Terran, because they're so difficult, still get a full point for the proxy barrack.
Okay. Well, 2 full points for the straight-up macro games.
Yeah, those haven't been going too hot, so... We'll see what TY decides to do. I mean...
What do you do right now if you're TY, though?
I do some statistics by myself, realize that the barracks on the other side of the map is a lot better.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, if you go
going
back
up against pool first, though, right? So I don't know if you really want to pull that out again.
That's actually pretty sick as well, that he went pool first and still managed to get in such a sick position. Because for us, it's like, it's pool first, probably not a big of a deal. But when you talk to the Zerg players, like, you can't actually win a macro game when you play pool first. Like,
Literally impossible.
It's so bad for you. I don't think
You
you
lose like
understand.
1 larva.
It's like you're down like 24 minerals, and I mean, you can't deal with the Hellions at that point. And the Helmet push, I mean, it's impossible. How do you even do this?
And not to mention the 2-2 setup much later down the road. It's like, it's unstoppable at that point.
But you suggest SCV or drone scouting? You're like, no.
Who is it that said that specifically? Because it sounded like you have a very vivid memory of someone saying
It sounds like a soul or something.
It sounds like I'm pretty sure Lambo would say something like that.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, here we go. Brilliant.
I do believe that Soul would proxy, by the way, in this scenario. On this map. Anyway, guys, we have loaded into Cyber Forest. TY is on the map. Building barracks is on the other side of the map is going much better for him than building them at home. So here we... Oh, shit. Here we go again. On the left top side, obviously, guys, we're looking at the main base. The man is 1 map away from being a back-to-back HomeStoryCup champion. And it is Serral.
Hatchery first this time around for him.
Yeah, once again with the 16 hatch. So
Is he going to find this, though? I feel like this Overlord is certainly going to pick up on this pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that's massive. Like, it's always a bit of a gamble. You don't know if it's going to be... you don't know if it's going to be like Marines or if it's going to be Reapers or something along those lines.
His pool is late, though, by the way, guys.
No, it should be going right now. Yeah, no, it's just a standard hatch gas pool. So 16 hatch, 18 gas, 17 pool.
yeah.
But
does see the 2, right?
he knows right now. He knows.
Yeah, so funny.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless he fell asleep. Let me have a look. No, he's awake.
I would have loved it if he just let out like a ZvT when he saw the super. But no reaction at all.
Totally not Serral.
I know.
He's not been corrupted enough yet. Like maybe someday.
I feel like Serral, though, is so
He's a
good at
good
defending
kid.
this, honestly. Like, I've seen him defend it when he knows that it's happening, and it's super clean.
Yeah, but I think back of like WESG Grand Finals, Innovation had quite some success as well with the proxy builds though. So like, yeah, and there's a couple of the European talents, like Seoul for instance, has been successful with proxy barracks against Serral in the past. Obviously, this is not going to be easy for TY, but let's see how good the execution is. It's very, very important, guys, that no Marine gets surrounded. Oh my goodness. No! Okay, well, if that second one would have been surrounded, that would have been a disaster.
But the bunker's going to go down right now as well.
Yeah.
Yes,
Ten
ZvT that was
links.
building it is already in trouble.
Tenling's about to come out. We got the double queen as well. He actually Serral's that confident that he starts an extractor now. He thinks he's already held, and I think he's right.
Yeah, he's definitely right. 2 queens on the way. He should be fine, at least killing. Oh my god, it's a picture round as well. Oh my god, TY is in so much trouble right now. And this is a terrible start for the potential final game.
Obviously, no more high ground vision, so at this point, it's going to be very hard for these Marines to get up that ramp. This time, it simply did not work out. I think the first round of those drones on that Marine is just that is so massive, guys, because it really snowballs so incredibly quickly with builds like this. Every single Marine is so freaking important, and losing one of your first 3 Marines is just deadly when you open up like this.
He's actually kind of stuck right here at 27 supply. Started to overlord at 27. I was assuming maybe he's looking to get a 3rd base. Okay, I think that's... No, he just simply spent the larva now. Okay. I was assuming maybe he wants to go up towards the 3rd hatchery there instead, but he hasn't
Man base
seen
looks
the
so
comments.
funny.
Yeah, I know, right?
3 drones on minerals. Something went down here. He's gonna start metabolic boost here, just to be extra safe. It's looking pretty good for Serral. Being on match point here, not bad. Gave himself a little bit of a scare, maybe, you know, lost the first 2 maps after he was up 1-0 because he won in the winner's bracket. But then it's like, nah, actually, I'm still here.
We often talk about, like, you know, people ask it all the time, like, what makes Serral so good? What makes him so special? And obviously, like, you can say, like, he doesn't really panic, or he stays so calm and composed. And it's like one of these things, but it is truly remarkable, right? It really doesn't seem like too many things phase him within the games. And he just stays so calm. He always sticks true to what he believes in, what he's been practicing. And that's so much easier than said and done. Because if I had to wait, like, you know, an hour and a half, and he also had to wait for the TVP series, basically, Serral had to wait like 2.5 or 3 hours to start that grand final, right? Because we obviously had a little segment. TY needed his little rest. TY had a TVP series. If you wait 3 hours, then you play your grand finals, and you're literally down 2-1 after starting 1-0 up within like 11, 12 minutes of, you know, starting that grand final, I feel like almost anybody would be pretty freaking pissed. And maybe he looked a tiny bit pissed, but he's still so focused, and he keeps it together so well. And here we are. A little bit later, he's suddenly up 3-2 again.
And in a fantastic position in this game as well, let's be real. It's a good creep threat going on already. 4 Hellions are on the map trying to... Oh, that was so cute.
Yeah, that was so cute. Attacking his own Hellion right there to kill the tumor.
See if the Hellion drop can get something done. It obviously was a very successful start for TY in that first game of the series, where he did get a couple of Hellions in the main base. This time the links are here, so you got to be careful. TY, you don't want to lose these Hellions. Good job. Picks them up in time.
Yeah, great defense right there. It's very important to not lose too much here.
I got a couple of links, got a couple of drones. I mean, this is fine for TY. He probably would have loved to do a... Oh my god.
It's really fun when the medevac is shooting the fire, right?
Yeah.
This brings me back to the very early days.
The Slayers Blue Flame Hellion medevacs, right?
Oh my god.
They did as well, but like
What a clown
in the
shit.
very early days when I casted a lot of the Go for StarCraft 2s, when I used to work for ESL, I had a lot of the finals were Lucifron against Stefano back then. And Lucifron was so freaking good as well with it. And it was always Stefano trying to defend with the queens and the links, and then Lucy with his Hellions and the medevac. I thought Lucifron is so good. He's such an underachiever in StarCraft 2 because he was so freaking good, I think.
He actually was sick.
Yeah.
Him and Happy were like the 2 best players that for some reason never won a tournament. Like,
You know, Happy became the world champ today of Warcraft 3.
Warcraft 3, sick. Beat Moon in the final, right?
Yep.
It's so crazy.
I think you were like 30k or something.
Yeah, that as well.
Not bad. You know what's funny? Like in every interview, he's like,
I'm not a pro gamer.
I'm not a pro gamer, I'm a streamer.
Yeah.
And then he beats all the world's best players and wins 30k in a tournament. That's streamer life, man.
What a guy.
All right.
All right,
here we go.
TY moving out, and this is going to be a very important push for our South Korean Terran play. He needs to get something done here. Combat shield is started. He's going to stim forward, pick off a couple of these creep tumors. If the tanks get in a good position, guys, there is always a little bit of hope here for the Terran play. We know that TY's control can be fantastic. There's no bailing speed, guys.
It hasn't even started yet.
Yeah,
so
that's a bit odd, eh?
yeah, that is a bit odd indeed. There's still a couple of Hellions as well, which do very well against slow banelings, even if they are on creep.
Yep.
Nice micro here by TY, but getting cornered by the Queens right now. A couple of links trying to flood in. Nice run by on the side as well. Serral actually floating a bit of money right now, so wondering where that's
What are the
gonna go.
Queens doing? They're actually hunting down a couple of these Marines and Aliens on the top side. But yeah, Serral was kind of almost forced to take that fight because he was supply block. He's still supply block. He's making 4 Overlords at once now, 18 Lings and 2 Queens. But yeah, that didn't go as good as it should have gone for Serral, guys.
Yeah, he definitely should have known, but TY actually is on an extremely low work account as well, so this feels
Yeah.
very, very all-in actually.
Yeah,
I
he's
didn't
very
quite
committed.
realize how all-in this was. Still 2 tanks remaining, there's a couple of Marines, but all the Queens are still alive. None of the Queens actually died in that last engagement, so it's going to be extremely difficult for TY to engage into this, as the tank shots will just get tanked by the Queens.
Yeah,
And
he
the
was started his
God.
3rd CC.
I feel like that siege tank just picked up like 4 Marine kills.
Not the kills you want to pick up, right? With your tank.
no, not quite.
A couple of these Lings do go down. Maybe 1 or 2 Queens will get picked off here, but you know, Serral during all of that, while he's up 15 workers, he fires up the 1-1 upgrades. He still hasn't started bailing speed yet, though, guys. I mean, he is a little bit low on gas. I'd say I prefer bailing speed maybe over those upgrades he's getting in the evolution chamber.
Well, what would we name this one, Loco? Friendly fire in the finals.
There you go. Wow. See, you could definitely do YouTube.
The supply gap is actually kind of big, and only now Baneling speed finishes. There's no more creep either, and once those Marines have combat shields, which they do have now,
Yeah.
he should start trading a lot better. It's 43 army supply against only 30. There's only Queens here.
That army is actually starting to really fall here for Serral. A lot of the Queens have gone down. GG,
Wow.
are you just like that, guys? After that phenomenal start, even TY, I think, was a little stunned. He's like, I just won with that? Yes, you did. We are getting a game 7, baby. And I think that's pretty freaking awesome.
I think that supply block you pointed out was actually lethal, though, because
Yeah.
he kind of had to engage over there, and then you're awkwardly running Zerglings in right when the creep spread disappears, and it just doesn't really make a lot of sense anymore, right? I think the Queens may have sniped like 1 medevac, so they were kind of chasing a bunch of Marines off creep.
I think we praised Serral too much, and then like the caster curse came in
I
really
think.
strong, and then suddenly he was like 5 overlords in production time. It's like, where are your units, bro? Like
700 minerals in the bank, 3-4 overlords on the way.
against 37 SCV, like mass marines.
I just want to say, though, guys, don't forget how the game started, okay?
That was 2. Oh!
Ah, this strategy
It
does
all
have a
makes
very
sense.
high win record in
Oh, and
tournaments.
them. You got your phone, make the tweet.
It's really sick. I actually saw that so many times with Mario games as well, where even if they open up 2 racks, 3 racks, and it doesn't work out at all, those are the games they still win. And if they have like a regular opening where sometimes they have a good start, they don't win it.
Yeah.
But this was actually pretty bizarre. I mean, like, down 16, 17 workers, really didn't have that many Marines, slowly but steady. I mean, Combat Shield did finish up, but Serral took a couple of very uncharacteristic bad fights on the high ground. Baneling speed felt very late. I think he knows it as well. He made a couple of blunders there towards the end of the game. I mean, he fired up those upgrades while he's being under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it looked really confident, right? He seems to be a lot more flustered here than he normally is as well. I mean, obviously, whenever he loses, he's known to just sort of whisper incantations against his opponent, right? And make it sound like, or make it look at the very least that he's at least a little upset. But right now, he certainly is quite triggered.
Let's see what Game 7 will bring. This is going to be the only map that we haven't seen yet. It's pretty. It's beautiful. It's going to be Turbo Crew, a new repugnancy. Oh, I guess we have 6 out of 7 maps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
one of them must have vetoed Turbo.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh,
No, I
he's
said
make-
Wiesel, man.
I mean, shall we just call it? I've got a trophy over here. I'm gonna...
All right. In the top right, spawning as the blue Terran, hailing all the way from South Korea. The man who just tied up the series. It is Splices TY.
His opponent, in the opposite corner, the reigning world champion of StarCraft 2, but more importantly, the HomeStoryCup champion of HomeStoryCup 18. We're looking inside of the main base of Serral.
All right. No proxy barracks. Barracks in the main. Yikes.
Yikes.
My
That's
one-
an oof from me.
Ooh. Big yikes.
It's gonna be an omega yikes from me, boys.
Not like this.
I give it an oof, that's all.
Big oof.
Oh
Alright.
my goodness.
See the hedge first once again. So Serral actually feeling a little comfortable. He did defend the proxy Rex last game
Yep.
and then still lost. It's rough. I'm very curious what TY has planned because he's shown us some. He actually shown us a lot of Hellion drops so far, right? And every time he Hellion dropped, it went pretty well as well. So I would be surprised to see that again. This map very good for the early Reaper. I kind of like it for Hellions as well. Can poke in from multiple angles. So it should be a kind of versatile early game.
I mean, Game 7 is always fun. I really feel we, in general, get quite lucky with the finals in HomeStoryCup. I think only we ever had bad finals when Tasia was just dominating the tournaments way too hard for a little while. We had a couple of one-sided ones, but I feel like over the last few times, we did have some really good finals here. And I'm just happy to see it go to Game 7, even though a couple of these games have been short. If you guys enjoyed longer games between TY and Serral, I can only say please take a look at the finals or the series they played in the upper bracket, because if you like long games, we had long games.
Oh, we had very long games.
I wonder how much like exhaustion comes into this as well, right? Like this is like one of those events that just goes on for a very long time. I mean, they've been at the venue for probably the last 10 hours at least. No, longer than that. It's been probably like closer to 12 hours. Obviously, this is like playing a bit of a marathon in a way, right? Maybe they felt really fit to play a long game earlier on, and nowadays, or at the very least now at this hour, becomes a little bit more tricky to play those longer games.
Yeah, perhaps. Definitely might be a factor. We do see that drone trying to head over towards the third base, trying to take it in a line. Oh, even refreshes the drone. One of the drones got a little bit of damage, and I was like, all right, I'll take a fresh drone there to send it. Reaper gets chased away by this queen, so Serral should be safe. Also managed to save his first creep tumor, so that's very nice, of course. Speed not finished quite yet. Tries to send the Ling around, but gets caught by the Reaper.
It's really nice to be able to put down the third hatchery that easily, I guess, when there's a Reaper being around.
Yeah, it's on this map it's a little tricky for TY because in theory Serral can take both bases. Of course he has a preference for the line base, but I mean the triangle is also possible. TY actually going in for a scout.
He's gonna nade that tumor again, maybe. I mean, he has to remember where it is exactly.
And metabolic boost finishing as well. I'm not too sure if he wants to stay around for that.
Quick stim pack this time around though. Is it a... No, it's not double barracks, never mind. It's just a 1-1-1. But a quick follow-up here. Is that Overlord gonna see it? We should be able to. That's an important scout, actually. There you go.
What if it's a fake stim and he goes into Cloak Banshee after this?
It's the 2020 meta.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a little while before it kicks in, but good work. Big Brain Gaming plays. Roach 1 already being thrown down, by the way, for Serral. That's a little bit earlier than we saw in some of his previous games, right?
Yeah.
Raynor is walking by and he's giving me the guns.
I think somebody is celebrating his birthday in a very HomeStoryCup way.
He's turning 17.
He's not the only one.
17?
Yep, 17.
It's a big boy now.
Walked around like a big boy last night.
Oh, actually
Alrighty.
getting caught
Oh,
by those
it's like
things.
super
Whoa.
difficult. What is going on here?
That's a big deal, actually. Catching
Yep.
these Hellions for free is huge. That makes any kind of
Wow,
follow-up
look at the
push
amount
much
of
bigger.
roaches he's producing,
Yeah,
guys.
immediately.
Like, yeah, I feel like that Serral actually had enough of some of this stuff as well, but I don't really like this
Yeah.
on paper, guys. Against a very quick stim opening, that's not what you want, right, when you go for builds like this.
Yeah, generally speaking, you want to go... he's trying to get these two Hellions as well. Generally speaking, Stimpack is a great defensive tool
Tank
as
on
well.
high ground.
He actually recognizes it, though. He goes back to droning.
Yeah. Did he cancel some of the roaches as well? How many roaches are actually out on the battlefield, guys?
7.
I think he may have
I really
canceled
feel like he wanted to go all out, and then he's like, wait a minute, against this build, I can't do it, right? No, you
Yeah.
actually can't.
Yeah.
That's a really big call, though, because there
Yeah.
are so
He would
many
hit right
Zergs
now.
out there.
Against this wall, maybe he can make a bunch of Ravagers and spam this depot. To kill
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Stimpack is finishing right now, and this is when he would hit.
Yeah.
So he'd literally just walk into the trap.
This is looking a lot like a 2-base all-in from TY as
Yep.
well, no? I mean, there's tanks, there's +1 gonna finish. He'll get combat shield for this push, but there's no third CC yet. We don't see a second E-base, so he's gonna get 1-1 max. And I think this is pretty much gonna be it for TY. I do believe that having a Roach Warren is very nice against this kind of push.
Double Evo, by the way, guys.
The double Evo might be pushing it a little bit. I think just getting range attack upgrades is sufficient, but I'm not sure if Serral is completely aware of what exactly is happening.
Well, he's seen that there's no third base at the front, right? So that's already a big scout.
That's a big scout as well. This little Happy Zerkling spots these two
There we go,
medevacs. He's going to see one of these Marines with Stim already as well, so that obviously gives him a good indicator of what is inside of these medevacs. We'll see if the Roach is going to be in the right position. Where are these units of Serral right now? And there isn't too much in the main base, is there, guys?
So if there was a standard time third base, it would land right now over at that triangle location where Serral is scouting with a Zerkling.
TKL, meanwhile, leaves the game. Roach a little bit out of position. That's a lot of Marines, guys. These Marines do have Stim, so they have quite a bit of firepower. The Queens and Roaches, that's not going to be enough. Serral's going to need a few more. The Queen does get gunned down, but hey, he lost a couple of Marines in the process. Maybe not necessarily the damage that TY was looking for. It's important that Serral does not supply block himself anymore. We saw what it did to him on the Cyber Forest. Look at the minimap, by the way. More medevacs being sent out. Guys, I mean, there is a third CC on the way, but it's late, guys.
Super late. I actually quite like this now for Serral because that 1-1 plus Roach speed will all finish up right around the same time. He could actually execute a really powerful timing attack once this third base does land, and it's very late.
Does he really want the timing attack in? I still feel like TY needs to push out with this. No, he's been so far down. Another supply block for Serral, by the way. TY been doing a fantastic job at sniping Overlords and supply blocking.
This could be
Serral.
big. Yeah,
Well, he
obviously with the
doesn't really
Roaches.
need this base though at this point. Like, look at the worker count.
Yep.
Yeah, Serral getting a station pit and a Baneling nest as well. So
I think we're just going to get an awesome Game 7, guys. That's what I think we're going to get. Because I still think New Repugnancy is a really sick map for tanks. And there are so many ways to space out your tanks very well. Look at the creep spread, by the way. It's more than half. These tanks are going to get spotted by creep.
I'm liking this position here a ton for Serral.
But
Look,
still.
11 Ravagers are coming up right now. Like,
is
that's more
important.
than siege tanks.
Okay, he actually doesn't know about his army yet. Now, obviously, Serral's army is pretty big. He does have his 1-1 upgrades right now. There are 14 more Roaches on the way. He really wants to crush his push. He's got a lot of Ravagers ready for it already. The tanks are not sieged up yet.
Do you think he should just give up this base at this point? I mean, he can hold the high ground for a little bit, but he doesn't need to push in there.
What? He's got so many Ravagers, man.
Yeah, just buy these tanks.
He's not going to give up anything.
But I mean, it's like right now it's 4 versus 2 base. I mean, he knows about the third command center now. I think with that one circling.
Like TY saw that army and he's like, yeah, I'm out of here. Wrong neighborhood. Way too many Roaches and Ravagers for me.
yeah, it's probably a good call. Still no armory going down though, and no second E-base. So I'm not sure what TY's future plans are, but he needs to make a decision about his future relatively soon, I feel like.
We don't have Baneling speed yet though, right? Like I see a lot of Lings on the way.
No.
I don't know if that's part of the plan or not, but there's a lot of gas in the bank for Serral. I do feel with all the units that Serral has, it is important that he maybe gets something done soon, right? Like, you know, maybe pick up a couple of these big expensive units. Wait, is he building a second Baneling nest or am I crazy?
Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure he already has. Maybe he lost it to a drop
Yeah, I
or
guess.
cancelled it.
Yeah, maybe. I have no idea. But
Very conservative though, so he actually starts up another base, and he also went up additional drones once again. So I think you're right. He could have probably pushed into that third base quite comfortably, but instead he's like, you know what? I'm not going to take any risks. I'll probably just stack up towards the high fear and display super conservatively.
he's going to get a few more drones now as well, because the drone kind of Serral is not super intimidating, right? And even though like Serral, like being up 40, 50 supply, it looks super good. I always get a little bit worried when a Zerk is like just maxed out on like Roach, Ravager, Ling, because I always feel like it's just a matter of time before they take this one fight where they run into a few too many tanks and they really just don't get almost anything done, and they lose 60, 70 supplies so quickly. If they don't have a good bank, then they're actually in trouble, guys. So even though it may look like TY is very far behind, I actually think there is still some hope here for the Terran player.
No Baneling speed starting.
How many tanks is he up to?
6 or 7. I think.
Yeah, because he's getting 7 with the 8s on the way already, and he's getting +1 vehicle weapons. So that's going to be a very strong push here down the line when he finally moves across the map.
This could be nice. Maybe some Liberator harass as well. Medevacs is flying all over the base. One empty Medevac will fall.
The key for TY is going to be getting across the map and setting up the siege without getting biled to death before that. If he can do that, even if Serral moves in to try and go for the bile on the tanks, he's just going to take so much damage on his Ravagers and lose them kind of all over the place. I'm not sure if harassing the way he's doing right now with the Liberators is even good, because he might want to save that for the double siege to synergize with the tanks.
I actually think what TY is doing here is that he's just going to sit back for
Yep.
a while.
Yeah.
He's going to get command centers. I don't think he's going to go for a 2-2 push whatsoever. He kind of accepts that he's not going to be able to kill Serral. And it's like, all right, I have a second shot perhaps in the late game if I make some good plays. Get a couple of command centers. And these Liberators, even though they're not doing a lot, they're keeping Serral busy a little bit. Perhaps they're also telling Serral, however, like, hey, I'm giving you a lot of Liberators. I'm not going to be attacking you. And Serral is going up to the Vipers. He's getting the Ultra Cavern. So he's really gearing up for that late game as well. And
Yeah. You know, in a lot of maps, I truly love Serral late game, obviously, because I think he's one of the very, very best at it. But I think New Repugnancy, I said it before, is so freaking good for tanks that if TY just gets base after base, there really is hope here for TY, guys. It may not look that great in game right now, but I really think it can be very hard to break it down with just Lynx, Banes, and Vipers. Obviously, you know, you can throw Brood Lords at it once in a blue moon, but if we get to that situation where TY gets advanced ballistics and he gets a whole bunch of goals, he absolutely has a good shot in this game.
yeah.
Vipers are now out as well, so I think they're going to be the ones that are supposed to deal right here with these siege tank balls. We have seen him play extremely aggressively into these kind of armies as well, but I'm quite surprised indeed that he's just sort of letting that fourth base go up completely uncontested.
Yeah, I think he's kind of, I mean, in the end, New Repug is kind of small, right? So I think he's a little bit worried that if he takes a super bad fight and he wasn't ready to build these ultras yet. Those guys, a couple of very good bailing hits. These are very nice crosser balls, picking off a couple of those siege tanks in the back.
It actually was a pretty poor fight for TY. Went a little overzealous there and lost a bunch of Marines. He is throwing down a couple of extra starports. He just added a couple extra barracks as well. So he's really gearing up towards that late game. Fifth base is on the way.
Yeah, Serral just had 50 plus Zerglings in production here, and he's going to morph a ton of banelings. So I think he's just looking to trade. He's already building up a bank. His gas income is pretty good as well. He just wants to get rid of a lot of these roaches and Zerglings that he has. I guess as cost effectively as possible, and then replace that with higher tier units. Ultralisk, maybe go down into Broodlords down the line. 2 Vipers are going to be really nice to have against this army when there's this many tanks, and there isn't even Vikings to really counter them either.
So there's 12 Vikings right now, though. Or 12 siege tanks right now, though. That's a lot of tanks. I feel like pushing into that, into the planetary as well, might be a little bit ambitious.
Love the bio was a bit out of position though, so a couple of these tanks do fall very quickly. Really good spacing on the tanks on the right side there. And TY is going to push his army back for now. And of course there is a bank for Serral, but there's only so many times you can do that. 92 Zerglings on the way. It really feels that Serral is right now taking the approach like 4 bases, that's fine, but we're not going to do 5.
TY has 93 workers, by the way.
Yeah.
That guy should have
TY
played
thing,
Zerg.
right? He does that all the time.
He should have played
go
Zerg.
up to like super high.
Is there no wall by the way? I guess he's really relying on his little sensor tower there, because you would think that a couple of links could run into that mineral line near the orbital, right?
Yeah,
This feels pretty wide open,
hasn't
boys.
started up any Ultralisk yet.
I mean, even if he loses 20 work, he's still going to be on 73, so not that big of a deal.
Well, I guess he's not too worried about it.
There we go. A couple of units do make their way right now towards that mineral line. Corrosive Piles will be able to pick off at least some of these units.
Awkward fight, guys. Advanced ballistics on the way. 3-3 upgrades on the way for TY now as well. Don't forget, he already has 3 starports.
But the 5th base is now secured, though. And there's a planetary over there, too. That's very difficult to break.
I'd love to see a Ghost Academy at this point.
We're going to see it real soon, don't worry.
Yeah, I really want to see the Liberator Ghost. He continues building tanks, which I like, because there's only ground units at this point. There's no Broodlords yet, but once the air units get out, I mean, you kind of need those Ghosts to deal with that. Another big engagement by Serral into a planetary and a bunch of tanks. He is trading.
Oh, getting the 5th base is
That's
massive,
huge.
though. That is such a big pickoff for Serral. Gets a couple of good banelings as well. Can he get the 4th base during all of this? A few more banelings roll forward. Serral
There
does
you
get the
go.
4th base. And Serral does a tremendous amount of economic damage to TY.
And that's a
82
very important
Zerglings.
one, because look at TY's income now. He lost that one important base here in the center, where Serral's economy is not being touched at all right now. So even though he's not getting the most cost-effective trades, he can replace his army so easily. He's still hitting the injects all over the place, and he's going to keep on going this way.
I was legit starting to get very worried there, but I think those were some very big snipes. But Serral has been spending a lot of money. He's going to try to run by here with a couple of links, gets on top of this tank. Might get a few of these Marines here as well. These links, they have Adrenal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to be feisty links.
I actually think if Serral can do anything in the next minute or so, he just kind of sacrificed his bank for those 2 bases. I mean, he had a way bigger bank, and he was up 10, 20 supplies. So I feel like even though it looked very nice, if he doesn't managed to capitalize on it, I'm not sure if it was actually worth it. I mean, this is the first time in a long time that the game is even. Here comes another good run by Please Lift It, TY.
Oh, TY not lifting that command center in time, and that's going to be big because that fifth base, I do think if we ever want to see goals, is going to be very important. This is new repugnancy, by the way. Now look at that center. I don't know if you can run into that, Serral.
Yeah, there's a lot of Liberators set up, right? So these Ultras are completely nullified. There's also no Hydro Disc here in the mid game, so dealing with them is going to be tricky. There's only one Corruptor right now.
I don't think he should be running links to that base anymore with the Liberators there. It's better to just run them into the natural. I mean, this is still a massive setup by TY, but he doesn't have that much bio, right? So how can he really push with it?
Serral spent almost his entire bank here. He's adding on some Ravagers, Morlings as well. Queen's going to defend here against the Liberator on the left-hand side.
Yeah, but I feel like he finally kind of managed to do the damage that he truly needed. He killed 20, 25 extra workers, took down another base, keeps doing the harassment, which he should actually go here.
I think we can take care of some of this bio here. That would be massive. Maybe these Vipers can help out. Maybe a couple of corrosive balls can land on these Liberators. Every single unit that Serral picks up here is very important. Guys, what an amazing Game 7 we get over here to determine who's going to be the champion of HomeStoryCup 19.
Yeah, here we go. He wants to push in.
Yeah, because Ibai is landing all over the place here on those Liberators. The ground's getting cleaned really quick. Those Liberators still are left up in the air. Now, some nice pickups actually from TY, saving some of these units, pulling them back as the supplies equalize a little bit here.
Army supply, it's still close. Economically, obviously, Serral is pulling away with this game. He's getting further and further out. He's going to try one with that man. He really loves, you know, before this base was wide open for like half an hour, and now ever since it had two Liberators, he doesn't have too many kills. How many kills does the other Lib have? Kamapu, just want to take a look real quick. 9, it's not too crazy.
So the base on the right-hand side is secured again, plus the command
center. He
center
floated over the main, right?
Yeah, that's the main command center. But still, he's once again got a bunch of mining bases, and that's what was that was exactly what Serral was trying to prevent from happening, right? He's finally adding on more Corruptors here. Kind of feel like that's a little late considering the amount of Liberators.
He's got a great Aspire already, by the way,
go.
as well. There we go. 4 Broodlords on the way as well. 5 Broodlords on the way for Serral. I mean, even though TY has established that quote-unquote 5th base, this time it's an Orbital, and that always makes it a little more breakable and definitely a lot more vulnerable to run-bys as well.
Yeah, you actually will need to leave some supply there, which makes your main army a little smaller. We still don't have a Ghost Academy. Wow, TY actually managed to see it somehow that there is Corruptors and Broodlords and starts Viking production immediately. Of course, he already had the starports ready from the Liberators. And the game kind of stabilized again. I feel like this game is like 4 or 5 stages where it looks like Serral is very far ahead. But once again, another pushing from Serral. Tries to snipe a tank.
The Queen's now being here as well, though. That's going to make things a lot harder.
It's going to be a Suppy Ultra.
Suppy Ultra. Gosu User
Gosu User Ultra against Fuser.
But that was Gosu User?
On Daybreak. No, not Daybreak.
New Grounds? Newkirk?
Newkirk.
Precinct?
Yeah, the Innovation Asian map.
Yeah. Okay, how does TY stop this push here?
No, he's going to have to gun down the Broodlords. One way
he's
or the
getting
other.
Vikings, but there is Vipers and Infestors.
And Corruptors as well. So.
And Queens. Is dead.
And Revenue.
Obviously, this base is very, very important. One of the tanks does go down immediately. Lynx running into this mineral line as well. Serral dealing once again insane amounts of economic damage. This planetary, guys, I think it's going to go down. And if that goes down, TY is in a lot of trouble.
24 workers going down. A lot of that 5th base as well, which of course is an orbital. Planetary goes down. Couple of Liberators being pulled in as well by those Vipers. Corruptors still alive. Queen's making sure that the Broodlords never die as well. There's still a lost Ultra with this army as well, so the Bio's going to have to kite back still.
A couple of parasitic bombs have been dropped on these Vikings as well. The Liberators obviously doing whatever they can, but this Bios is forced to run away from these Broodlings on the ground. The tanks are very, very dangerous as well. The Corruptors will take care of these Liberators. Blinding Cloud has been casted, and it looks like Serral is going to be your back-to-back HomeStoryCup champion, just like Tasia, just like